We let you experiment almost everything. Do you ever feel that it's too much sometimes?
I think I've been brainwashed. That's because that's what I believe too. So wow, what an experience.
Yeah, she wasn't lying, right? When she said it was hard.
No, keep that bar high, guys.
Oh, proud dad moment.
And I feel like
Oh, you sound like a mini me right now.
Oh.
See? And then you hear my voice. When everybody else is relaxing, this is the time you get ahead. Nobody's working on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is
that's
your
the time to get ahead. That's what
Exact-
you were gonna say, right?
Exactly.
I know.
Welcome to Parenting Untapped by Ali Talks. Join my father and I as we dive into the mind of a teenager and discover what it takes to build a strong, effective relationship with your teen.
Welcome to Parenting Untapped. I'm Ali, your host, and this is my father, Tony, your co-host. So today we're going to go into academic pressures, the pressure we feel from our parents, our teachers, our peers, and maybe even ourselves.
What do you think about the pressure that we put on you from this household?
Okay. There's definitely a lot of pressure going on in our household, but I feel like I like the pressure. I feel like it helps and motivates me to become a better person and kind of work harder at things.
Okay. Yeah, I think, strangely enough, I don't think I was ever, a super academic believer. Your mom was more so that, and I think I've kind of bought in to her, and I do see how busy we keep you throughout the years growing up. Does do you ever feel that it is too much sometimes? Because I know, you know, there was a point in time where I think there was not a summer camp, there was not some enrichment that your mom was always getting you involved. I think we let you experiment almost everything, you know? Do you ever feel that it's too much sometimes?
I feel like a lot of the pressure comes from myself as well, especially comparing myself to all my peers. I feel the need to do certain things and I push myself to kind of like further than I really need to. Like I guess like all those stacking the APs, like I feel like I have to do them. And more so like kind of like in our family side, like what we prioritize and value, which is like creating the businesses, learning in the process, right? And I know like you didn't want me to take a lot of those APs, and I feel like a lot of that stress I put on myself. And also like with the procrastination I used to do, like kind of like leaving it until the end, which is like and it gets so overwhelming.
Yeah. Do you ever feel that you need to excel in academics for us to be proud of you?
I used to. I used to. But I guess lately, not academically.
Do you ever feel why, or do you ever think like, why are they so crazy in this? Like,
No, I completely understand. I guess like it's something that I've watched while you grew your businesses since I was how many years old? Like I've watched you. I've literally slept on like mattress beds in at your warehouse. Yeah. So I really see the hard work that you guys do.
you want to know why we didn't have your baby sister until a 17-year gap? Because everybody's like, why? My friends always ask like, why did you wait 17 years? I'm like, man, the early stages of Lissa was tough. I remember
I mean, it's still
bringing you
tough.
home from elementary school, stick you in an office, working late night, having an air mattress for you. You sleep. I'd carry you to the car, and then we'll do that again. So I was like, yeah, man, I don't think it was fair. I think it was pretty crazy, but I know it probably exposed you to so much, of what me and your mom did, right? And in a way, I think that's another thing too. It early stages, I don't think your mom understood, right? Your mom was always like, "Oh, this is not the life." So, your mom always wanted to put you in STEM, always wanted to enrich you with stuff. And then once the business started to grow, she kind of started like, "Okay, why are we doing all of this stuff?" Now she kind of like, "Oh, you take care of her." But I know early on it was pretty crazy. Your mom was like, I remember, man, I don't know. Well, when you were like literally, I don't even your first, I don't know, so many words were like bonds. We have videos of you as a baby holding
Bonds and molecules,
molecules,
yeah,
and
and building
literally she was
them.
trying to teach you those words. I'm like, what the heck are you doing?
I think that's honestly why I push myself a lot in the STEM route, in my classes.
And then with math too, I remember at a young age, your mom was in there with a time
Kumon packets.
Kumon packets, and she was timing you on math problems.
Yeah.
It was bizarre, to be honest. And me, I didn't go that route, right? So I couldn't understand it at the time. But you know, um, I knew that that was a belief and a value of your mother. So I bought in, and I definitely believe in it, right? How it was done, I don't know if I agree 100%. But we're a partner, and if she believes in it that much, I mean, I pushed it as well. So we kind of constantly put you in that. Do you think that because we put you in private school, is there more pressure, from your peers and competition and all of that stuff? Because I know.
That's really hard to say because I've only went public school for elementary, right? So I don't think there was like so much pressure back then. But from what I hear, like a lot of like people I talk to, like my public school friends, I feel like they're equally as like pressured as me.
But what about being in the private school now where everybody is so competitive? Everybody is trying to take like 6 AP classes. Like, how does that make you feel, right? In high school and.
Oh, it's horrible because, well, we talked about it, right? Like, I always want to talk to you about like, oh, like what do you think about this schedule, this workload? And I see all my friends like having 19 APs by the end of like school, right? And I'm just like, wow. And I try to keep up. Like I try to do those APs. Like, junior year, I try to do AP Chem, AP Calc, like all of that. And it was stressful trying to be somebody I wasn't. Like I was trying to live up to other people's expectations and what they thought would be good for colleges. And honestly, it wasn't until way later until I realized like that's not something I should be pushing myself towards. And it was when I started building my like extracurriculars and my projects and really being into that, which allowed me to see like those AP classes aren't teaching me as much as I'm learning from these.
Hmm. Now, do you think there's a borderline between healthy motivation and toxic pressure?
Oh, for sure. But for me, I like the toxic. Like I like being pressured. I feel like it keeps me on track. It allows me to. It's kind of like my motivation in a way. And I feel like growing up with you guys and seeing what you guys do, it became like second nature to me. That pressure, like you guys were always on top of things. This. Like we were always working. You never really had time for me growing up, right? And I feel like that's kind of what I learned. Like I'm always working, working, working. I don't give myself that time to kind of like have a life, socialize. And like I feel like I do socialize, but I feel like there's like priorities that you should have.
Now, seeing that your mom is a biochem major and I guess you could call a serial entrepreneur. I mean, I've opened at least 5, 6 different business.
No
Like,
major.
what is there pressure in that?
Pressure. In what way?
Like, you have to outdo us.
I had to outdo mom because she was always like bragging in my face. I'm a biochem major. I had to take these hard classes. You don't know the effort it takes until you take them yourself. So I guess like that's kind of why I wanted to take AP Chem. I wanted to prove her wrong, like I could do it. And oh wow, what an experience.
Yeah, she wasn't lying, right? When she said it was hard.
Oh, it was hard. Yeah.
Do you have friends that are not, that doesn't value academic the way that we push onto you? And what do you think when you talk to them? Are you guys like on total separate world, or do you sometimes think like, man, how come they get to just chillax? You know what I
I
mean?
have
And
friends that their parents aren't strict and don't really enforce them to do certain things. And I have friends that aren't the academic route, like.
Do you ever wonder, like, hey, what happened if I just didn't have to do all of this stuff and
But they
just
focus on sports. That's the thing. Someone has something. Like whether it's you're running a business, you're focusing on your AP classes, you're opening a nonprofit. Like they have a passion.
do you think that if we didn't kind of put you in that environment, would you still do the things that you've done, such as Academic Connect?
Oh, guys. Okay. So, Academic Connect is like a nonprofit that I recently started and I'm trying to build, which is connecting tutors with people their age, allowing free tutoring, and also alumni for free guidance and advice into college experience, major, career path. So, yes, because of the environment at home. If you're talking about school environment, right?
So you would be just as motivated to do something like that.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think I've always wanted to follow in your footsteps, um, in like middle school, right? Like, I mean, from
In the beginning, were you more down the mom's route and you
yeah,
wanted to
like
be a
growing up,
doctor or
yeah, growing up
med school or
until middle school, right? I think I started becoming more interested in the business side, what you've been doing, and I guess like that's kind of how I grew my own passion for things.
yeah, I mean, I'm totally different, right? And I don't know if, you know, you see what your mom sees it now, right? For me, I think the way I look at things is this. You can burn yourself out and go crazy with the hardest classes, battling to get into med school, and then be $500,000 in debt,
Yes,
and do another 8 years plus
he
residency.
lives by this, guys.
Yeah, that's
Tells me this all the time.
exactly. So you can do all of those things and burn about 10 years of your life, right? And put yourself in a whole $500,000 and then come out and have a stable job, career, and take you another, I don't know, 5, 10 years before you can buy a home and get out of that debt. Or you can go my route where, you skip all of that and you go into debt right away. And then it's still gonna take you about 5 years to turn your company around, right?
But
And
I think it's the work ethic.
I mean, I've done it so many times that I've kind of have a formula to knowing exactly, when I'm gonna start profiting, right? So to me, it's the same thing. Like, what are your thoughts on that now? Like,
I think I've been brainwashed. That's because that's what I believe too. But maybe it's because like I just hear it all the time, so I'm like, oh yeah, that's
but I
right.
told you it's the same thing, right? You're gonna get beat up going to school, becoming a doctor, or you're gonna be a business entrepreneur and get beat up too. I mean, life is not lavish like you see on
No,
social
I've
media.
seen that.
You've seen me the first every business, like the recent one. The last well, it's been almost 5 years. The last 4 years, it's been tough.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are months where you're scrambling to find ways to pay your employees. There's a lot of that going on too, right? So that I draw parallels to that as if you guys are going to school. It's like late nights of studying. Same thing. I have late nights in the office trying to fix things. What is wrong with the business? You got to keep on constantly trying to scratch your brain and, innovate yourself, learn new things to improve your business. It's the same thing.
No, yeah, I've definitely started to agree a lot with that ever since junior year, me doing AP Chem and then also like starting my own projects. Like I see like the effort it needs to take in both. And I think I guess like what you said is like really true.
Do you think this podcast come from pressure or passion?
Passion. Because like I mean the whole point of this was for us to kind of like understand each other a little bit more, like where we're at in like certain things in our life and kind of like to grow together. And I feel like this isn't like it's not like so serious. Like we just want to help other parents kind of like understand what goes on in our household and see if like any of our like strategies or tips kind of help them. But it's more so for us to just talk it out with each other and like see where we're at. So yeah, passion.
So, do you see any of your friends where the pressure becomes negative? Or do you always feel that pressure in a household to a certain degree is good?
I know my friend recently talked to me about being pressured, right? She's talking about how her family always brings up money every single day as like a constant reminder as why she has to do well because like they spent and poured so much money into her And she was like really struggling with that, like kind of like that dilemma. Like she was trying so hard, and her parents were like putting more stress on her, like telling her like now she has to really do well. And I guess like there is like a certain extent to the pressure we put on ourselves, but it's always good to be pressured. Like to like, because if you're not pressured, I feel like how are you gonna push yourself to the best of your abilities? You're never going to know.
And what do I always say, right? You got to be comfortable with the uncomfortability. You know, you
There's a
you
quote. Yeah, I love that quote.
you always have to be out of your comfort zone, or else you won't grow, right? And that's literally, what I try to instill in you is hey, if you're too relaxed, you're not growing as a person. So we always kind of put that pressure on, right? I'm always like, hey, what's next? What's next? Knowing that you're young, so it's the best time to fail and make mistakes. Um, so you don't, you take it in stride, huh? It doesn't bother you that it's like too much going on, or, I'm sure as a kid, you want to be like, hey, I want to sleep all day, and I want
No,
to.
there's definitely some days where I'm just like, I'm just doing so much. It's coming too much at me. But it's really how you prioritize and manage your time. And I feel like,
Oh, you sound like a mini me right now.
oh,
See, the pressure is put on because of you. You got to
yeah, it's like
figure a
it's
way
my
to
fault.
you got to figure a way to fix that. I
Yeah,
mean, that's good. You're listening.
I am listening. Don't worry.
But what do you feel like? Is it just like a one day thing where you're like, I don't want to do this no more. I'm tired.
No, there's some days
Or do
like,
you just kind of like, it's just, one day you need a day off and then you right back on it.
no, yeah, there's like a lot of times, specifically Friday, where I'm just like, I'm out of it the entire week, been so stressed. Like, I take a big ass nap, like a big nap, okay? And I'm just like, I'm so tired, just want to watch TV, don't want to do any more work. And then I probably watch TV for like an hour or two. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? It's just like so stupid. Like, I feel so unproductive. I feel so bad right now.
And then you hear my voice when everybody else is relaxing. This is the time you get ahead. Because
He's always in my ears, guys.
nobody's working on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is
That's the
your
time to get ahead. That's what
exact
you were going to say, right?
exactly.
I know. Guys, I know.
I know they're probably like, oh my goodness, this is a toxic family.
No, it's good.
I mean, you understand. I mean, yes, not everything is about money. Not everything. It's about self growth, right? Is the most powerful thing I believe is knowing that you can handle anything, right? There are people that just can't handle the stress or whatever it is. That's why we do what we do. Is we want you to be able to manage, and deal with all of the stress, because I mean, there's stress everywhere. If you grow up, you don't have nothing to do, you're broke, you're gonna be stressed too. Might as well get paid out to be stressed.
I think I'm okay with being stressed because I know the outcome, you know? Like, you work so hard, you're going to achieve that outcome. And I feel like what I want in the future is to kind of have more time. Like, I always feel like there's never a lot of time in this world. And like, even with you, like, right, you started late. Now you don't, like, you didn't really, you weren't really there. Like, I mean, you were there, but you weren't really there for me when I was little. And I don't want that for my children. I want them to have my time and be able to live a good life, you know? And I feel like that's constantly weighs on me to start now.
Do you think sometimes the pressure affects your confidence at all? Or it make you feel like I'm not good enough because I kept failing? Or,
Like, feeling being bad? No.
yeah, it's just do you ever feel like, the pressure can cause a negative effect in you and your confidence?
No.
Really? How come? I would imagine that you would say, yeah, sometimes, when you're constantly raising the bar, sometimes it's like,
No.
man,
Keep that bar high, guys. I think failing's amazing. It's a horrible feeling, but it's amazing. No, yeah.
oh, proud dad moment.
I think I failed so many times that yes, at the time it feels horrible, but it's kind of like that moment that just clicks for you. You know what I mean? Like, it helps you grow as a person. Like, I guess, like, Okay, this one sounds so cliche, but what you always say is like, you need to fail to succeed. And after failing so many times, I really believe that.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't fall, how are you gonna know you need to grow? How are you gonna know how to grow from it, right? So
And honestly, nobody's
sounds like I brainwashed her. I feel like. I mean, it's just sounds
maybe a
like
little bit. Maybe a little bit. But
this
this is,
podcast is me speaking through her. But I
yeah.
promise, I didn't tell her to say all of that.
I think it's like the values that I was instilled at a young age. Like we have like a Doan family to success, like 10 rules, right? But isn't that one of them? Yeah. He made me put it as my wallpaper. He was like, you need to look at this every single day until you live through them. You live by them. Yeah.
Absolutely. You got to get over it. You got to get back on the horse, and you got to constantly improve yourself.
I think nothing comes from dwelling on something.
Yeah, I mean it's common. I mean it's perfectly normal. I mean, do your friends? I mean, other obviously, you mentioned some of your friends have some of that pressure as well. Do you see that for the most part? In when we put our kids in this type of environment, it makes them excel. When you look at them, you're like, oh, you know what? They got a good head on their shoulder.
Your surroundings. My friends constantly encourage me, and I love that. I love that supportive environment where they're doing equally the amount and the same things I'm doing, which kind of encourages me to push and be better as well.
I mean, I know for a fact, the peer pressure environment is somewhat good because I see it, right? There are times when you come back and like, oh, dad, so and so is doing this and this.
I gotta get on that.
And then it's like, you know what you got to
No,
do.
but there's times where it can definitely be bad. Like sometimes, like at my school, I think it's really competitive. That gets to a point where everyone's just negative to each other.
Or cutthroat. I mean,
yeah.
that is a factual thing where when you get to the upper echelon of people,
It's so
it's kind
bad.
of cutthroat, right? I mean, it's all for themselves, right? I mean, it's about climbing the ladder, and people are cutthroat about it. And you've told me stories too where I'm like, dang, it happens. I've never experienced that. Growing up in my high school, nobody really cared in my high school. It was either you're gonna be in sports or that's it. I didn't know about the craziness.
But I don't believe in being jealous of someone because they're better than you. I think if not, you want people better than you because you learn from them and you grow from them.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
see nothing wrong with that.
But there are some people that will wish bad things upon you.
They can wish whatever they want.
I mean, there's got to be something negative about the peer pressure of academic. I'm waiting for it. Like
The
you're giving me
negatives.
such perfect answers right now, so I'm like,
No,
you know,
guys, I don't know. It sounds good, but I'm stressed all the time. But it's like, you can't dwell
is
on
it because you believe in the process and where you want to be eventually, and this is what it takes to
I just
get?
keep thinking of my goals, what it takes to really achieve that. Like if it would like it's kind of like what mom says. Like if it's so easy, then everybody would be rich, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like if you really want that, you're gonna do what it takes to get there.
You remember that video I sent you a long time ago?
Oh, video.
You
You sent so many.
you have to want to succeed as much as you want to breathe. Then you will succeed. Right? So, you constantly have to be at that borderline of drowning to the point where
Oh, I'm drowning.
yeah, I mean, and the only way you can, improve yourself is like I said, right? Dwell within yourself and see what you can do so that you're drowning less. Right? I think when you're new, it's just like me when I was first starting my businesses, it was always kind of like everything was tough. Everything was like, oh my God, I don't know what I need to do.
It's the starting. That's always the word.
And then once I started really getting good at it,
Yeah.
right? It's
It's
just
pattern, repetition.
you start kind of knowing, okay, this happens, this is what I need to
And you
do.
start understanding.
I start going department to department. Okay, every month I have my managers. Okay, you guys got to fix 3 things. And then we start fixing, and
Yeah.
by the 2-3 years, boom, all of a sudden it starts being like a well-oiled machine, and things start working out.
That's what I love from like looking at
And I
you.
think you know, academic is kind of in the same thing, right? When you're, you know, you're taking all of these tough classes, you're doing all of these extracurriculars. It's like in the beginning you're juggling so much, you know, but because you've it's you know, it's uncharted territory. You've never done it.
Exactly.
But
No,
after you do it for a while, you're just like, it's not too bad. You know, now I can do this task, which used to be, you know, 2 hours or whatever. Oh, now I'm doing it in 30 minutes. Da 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 da.
that's
Da.
honestly what I loved from seeing you work. It was always like you didn't know anything about manufacturing, right? Aerospace. And the way you went from 0 to literally like 100, like to master, like you it I love that. Like you didn't know something, but now you do.
A lot,
You know everything of
a
it.
lot of people thought I was crazy for jumping in that, you know, not knowing a single thing and doing what we're able to do now is pretty crazy. But I mean, I wanted to challenge myself. And honestly, I mean, it was great that I was able to prove to you that there's nothing in the
That you
world
can't
that you
do.
can't do.
Especially with like technology now, like ChatGPT, YouTube. There's not,
Oh man, it's
you
I've
know,
replaced my consultants with ChatGPT. I
no,
used
you
to pay $500 an hour for things, and now it's like, oh, ChatGPT.
no, yeah, and I feel like a lot of people kind of misuse ChatGPT, and I feel like it's got to be a tool that you use. Like in class where we were doing vibe coding, which is basically like utilizing AI to create code for you without having to review the code. And it's how simple it is to create an app or a website now.
Well, they said Microsoft is about to replace 80% of the workforce with, you know, coding tools.
No, it's crazy.
It's, you know, that's the
You
way the world is moving towards,
Like,
right?
you don't even need to know any code, and you can create an app or a website
I
within
read an article.
15.
I read an article that says that doctors are now using ChatGPT to diagnose, and there was something that they did, and ChatGPT did it better than
Wait.
doctors.
I heard that, but did you hear about that case with a lawyer who ChatGPT her entire case? It was so bad.
Oh man.
Don't use it for logic, though.
So, you know, do you think that that very valuable thing in a household where, you know, parents should not sit back and just kind of let their kids find their own route in life, and they should kind of set some type of path for to nurture that type of way of thinking?
I think it definitely needs nurturing when you were little.
Okay. Do you think it's more valuable at an earlier age to put that pressure or later on?
Ooh, because we all say, like, we all think when we're young, just let us be, let us grow up, we're kids, right? But honestly, I would have loved to start earlier, even earlier than I did now.
Interesting, because I just read an article recently, and they said that most of those things that you instill in your kids starts before 7. After 7, they said it's actually their peers.
No, yeah.
Like it's legit. They said that, you know, how you shape your kids' characteristics, the way they think, what their beliefs in life, it has to come from a parent in a way. It has to come up into the age of 7. And then from 7 to 17, really it's the environment that you put them in.
Right, I think we talked a little bit about this and how I learned that in psych, and I feel like peers are so important, like the surroundings you are in. And I feel like even though you guys pushed me at home, without that extra support and that extra encouragement from my peers, I don't think I would be at the place I would be now.
So sounds like the academic pressure that we put on you, you sound like you appreciate it. You think that that's an advice that you would give a lot of parents out there, is to enrich them. It sounds like younger. Um, and is there anything else about academic pressures that you think that you can give advice to the parents out there, that what not to do, or, you know?
Hmm. Never push them into something they don't want to do. Like, I found my passion in business, right? That's why all my extracurriculars are oriented that way. But like mom, she was so putting pushing me into the STEM route. And I think for a while it worked until I realized that wasn't something I was really interested in, so I never put my all into it. But of course, like, I still take those classes, it's interesting, but I don't think like that's kind of what I ultimately wanted to do.
So You think that it's good to put the pressure, but also trying to give you guys the freedom of choice and route. Is that what it sounds like? And just being able to be there and support and give some type of disciplinary, route to go towards.
I think it's a common, like, stereotype,
It's
misconception.
tough though when you have parents, and I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I think
Yeah.
becoming a doctor is very respectable, right? But
Yeah.
I think, it is one of those things where it's so tough because you got to go a specific track. And when you go that track, you have, and I argue with your mom all the time, where if you go that track, you have no bandwidth to do anything else and explore anything else, because it's like, to become a doctor, you got to be, the top of the top. You got to take all of the hardest classes, all the APs that you can get. And when you're doing those things, there's really no more time to explore other things. That's why I'm like, dude, it's like I would love Alyssa to experiment, other things, but there's just not enough time. I look at her and she's just like buried in the books.
That's why it's like only in the summer I was able to.
You can't do sports. Like, it's hard to do sports and taking all those AP classes too. It's like there's a lot of things that so sometimes understanding early on, I think, what direction is best. It sounds like your mom is still trying to do the same thing with Elena. She's like, oh, I'm gonna just try it really early just to see if she loves it. And if she does, I'm like, at that age,
Like,
they're
she
not gonna
understands, but she
it's like
doesn't.
they're not gonna know that they love something until they hit like certain things in high school, where it's gonna be like, oh, this is not what I thought it was,
Yeah. Like, honestly, like, I was always in a STEM, right? But then after joining DECA mock trial, I was like, wow, I love this a lot more. Like, why am I doing all these STEM classes?
The thing with being that route, it's like, I guess most people say, they love to do that route because they want to save lives. They want to, help people, in medicine. But you don't get any true experience of that, in my opinion, until you're there. So
Well, it's a process.
you have to go through so much schooling to before you, you know, put your hands on it, right? Like, okay, a person can be like, I want to be a surgeon. Well, until you freaking use that knife and you put it in somebody's body
Okay.
for the first time, you might not really like that.
Yeah.
Or a dentist, you might not really like it until you start working on some teeth. So it's hard, right? But if with business, it's like you can go right away.
Okay, Dad, don't try to like convince all these kids like don't do med because we're gonna need doctors out there in the world. Or we're
No,
gonna have
I'm
all
not.
business
I'm not
people.
saying, but I'm just saying how tough it is. As parents in a way, when we're choosing, not choosing, but when we're trying to support you, it's like it's so hard. Especially in our household. I told you, it's one of those things where it was a battle for me because I was trying to steal your time to introduce certain things to you, and I felt like it was just your mom was like, oh no, she has to do this. I want to give her more help in
Like
this.
you wanted me to watch you work and
And
do
I
certain
was like, dude,
things.
my thing was, I'd rather you sit right next to me at work
Right.
and watch me work, sit in my meetings. That's why lately is like, I want you to be more involved in being able to see, and shadow some of the things that I do so that you can take that like,
But
oh,
okay.
okay, that's what it looks like. Okay, now
But
I can do that.
honestly, I liked having that STEM growing up because I guess taking those classes, those hard classes, it really showed me like what it takes to really succeed in something. And I feel like that set the base. Not even if I wasn't going into that, I think school really teaches you like work ethics. Like if you can handle something, if you know what it takes to handle something, right?
Yeah, and I can tell you that, they teach you to think really outside the
But
box,
if
right?
only if you take like those
But
hard AP classes. And I think that's what was good from them. And that's
that's
why
why it's amazing to have your mom as a partner to help me with all my business, because whoo, she thinks like a 10 to, I'm the type where I'll think one way and it's like boom, 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 failed, okay, pivot. Your mom's like, what happened here? No, don't do that. you know,
overthinker, nitpicky.
Overthinking,
Yeah.
and she's like super
No,
detective
I'm
with
like that too.
so I mean, in a way, it's great. It's a great characteristic trait to have. Um, so I mean, I think this episode went pretty well from a parent standpoint or our parenting standpoint. I mean, any last things you want to chime in and say about the academic pressure? I was expecting you to be like, you know what, I hate it. This is like, the pressure growing up is like, I don't know why you guys make me do the things that I do.
Well, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of things where it's like I feel like I'm missing out. Like, I miss so much. I miss Hoko, fall ball, prom. And it's like people are like, wow, you only get prom like once in a lifetime. You're not going to go because you're going to go on a business trip to go on a conference with your dad. And I'm like, yes,
No,
yes.
I know that
That's
is.
far more interesting than going to prom.
There's been conversations between me and your mother as well about that, where we're like, ooh, man, should she be a kid and experience some of those things? Your mom's like,
But
no,
why? You know what my
I'd
mind
rather her be successful.
You know what
You're
my
not gonna
mindset
remember
is?
those things.
You know what my mindset is? High school is not worth it. You want to be rich, get money fast, okay? And then you travel the world when you're older, right? Like all these traveling I did when I was little, I don't remember it. Yeah. So it's tough. I definitely think an advice would be trying to balance that out. Like, definitely don't don't not care about school and then focus like on your activities and what you do outside, getting that real world experience. But I think it has to be a good balance of both because those AP classes did really teach me like struggling, and I feel like that's really important. It taught me failing, right? And I feel like it has to be a good balance, but don't overstack your APs just for colleges. Like, do it because you want to. Do it because you're learning something that you want to. And I feel like that's kind of like an important process that I learned.
And you also think that it's good that parents are more involved in the academic, or do you think it's better to let the kid make that decision? Because at the end of the day, I guess that's the biggest question for us, right, as parents is, you know, would you do it on your own, or do we have to kind
I think
of
help guide us.
guide you that
Like, I
way?
mean, you don't necessarily push me into something, but you help guide it. Like, I ask your opinions, like, oh, is this okay? Like, do you think this will be stressful? Do you think like I'll handle this well with this? And I appreciate like the involvement in that, but not like so pushing me towards a certain thing. Like, take this, take 6 APs. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, we went a little bit over time here. I mean, I think that was you know, very good, information that you provided.
Right.
I guess we just keep doing what we doing, and
Hopefully
hopefully
it
the
helps.
parents out there, you guys got something out of that as well. Until the next one.
Thank you. And if you have any other topic suggestions, please comment them below. Bye.
Thanks for tuning into Parenting Untapped. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen so you don't miss the next one. Want to gain even more valuable insights into understanding and connecting with your teens? Then head on over to parentinguntapped.com and subscribe to our email list for exclusive updates. Until next time, see you later.